everybody, Chad Brockman here, RC Yoda. How you guys doing today? Check out what I got. I have this right here. This is Dustin Evans's B7 turf kit. This is the car he actually raced at the PDX Underground Invitational April 2024. He was nice enough to send it to me. We were talking, and Brent Thelke came up with a great idea that it'd be great to tear apart a pro's car to see what they do with it and see what they put into their vehicle to make them fast, and see if I can see anything that definitely stands out. This right here is the way it came off the track. This is the way I got sent to me. The nice autographed Dustin Evans body. Thank you, Dustin. Also, Dustin Evans signed chassis. But you can see electronics are still in here. Reedy motor, Reedy speed control, Reedy battery pack, Reedy servo. I'd like to thank Brent Thelke. I'd like to thank Team Associated. I'd like to thank Reedy Power. I'd also like to thank Dustin Evans, of course. I've known Dustin for, wow, over 3 decades now. He is 39 now, so I've known him since he's 5 years old. So that'd be 34 years, if my math's correct. So I've got to watch him grow up and got to watch him learn how to be fast. And I think the biggest thing I can say about Dustin Evans, about why he's fast, is because he learns off other people. And him, Cody Newman-Dahl, and Matt Chambers all got together, and they were fast together, and they made each other even faster. Because they would talk with each other, they would discuss things, they would figure things out, what worked, what didn't work, and that's what made them fast. And then just years of a lot of really good racing. Dustin's won Reedy Race twice, Masters of Dirt twice. He's been to numerous worlds, invited to numerous world competitions, Finland, United States, everywhere. So he's just a great guy overall, and he retired this year. I don't think he's going to be completely out of it, but maybe down the road after his kid grows up a little bit, maybe he'll get back into it a little bit, just here and there. But racing's always in his blood. He ran go-karts for a while. He does bicycling right now, road bikes, and he's good at whatever he does. So I wish him the best of luck, and I would like to thank him very much from the bottom of my heart for sending this to me. This will mean a lot to me in my collection. But we're going to tear it all apart, and we're going to run through everything on it. We're going to give you a full list. At the very end of it, it'll have a full list of everything he's used in this car, which isn't a lot. And then we're going to also have a full setup sheet at the very end of this video. But we'll tear it apart and see if there's anything I see that's majorly sticks out, that's something really cool to have, or cool to do. The big things I know he does, I know he polishes all his hinge pins, all of his ball studs and shock shafts. Other than that, there's not a lot he does to his cars. So we'll go through it and we'll talk about it. And let's get started. All right, so we have a Team Associated B7 kit right here. Let's start with the body first. This is a thin Team Associated stock B7 body. Painted by Bradley Fine Line Designs. For those of you who don't know who Bradley Fine Line is, Bradley Fine Line paints a lot of the pros' bodies. He does amazing work. His line work is probably one of the best in the business. And he's been painting Dustin Evans' bodies for as long as I can remember. Dustin Evans' sponsors, of course, Reedy Power, Team Associated, Factory Team RC, J Concept, Fataba USA, Stick It One, More RC Raceway, Bradley Fine Line Designs, Makita, Kicker, and We Are AE. Were all of his sponsors when he was racing. Dustin Evans, of course, just retired this year. And he will be missed, but I'm sure he'll come back. He always does. So here's without the body on it. This right here is, of course, pretty stock B7 kit. There are some aftermarket parts on it, and we'll walk you through them as we come across them. I do have a full setup sheet for it, and I do have a full part sheet. I did this part sheet by myself, just kind of looking over it to see what was out there, what was on here, I should say. And we'll, at the end of the video, I'll make sure I post what he used, and also post the setup sheet as well. All right, let's see here. So first, let's start with electronics. We're going to deconstruct this car, so we're going to go backwards. So electronics have to come out first. So let's take the battery out first. He runs a Reedy Zapper battery. This is an SG5, which has been discontinued now. They now have the SG6 batteries out. This is a 4800 milliamp pack, 90C. This is the thin pack, part number 27396. And you can see underneath here, if you look, there is a 50-gram weight plates, double-sided tape to the battery pack. Now this is a great idea if you're using weight plates underneath the battery pack. The weight plate underneath the battery pack puts the weight low where you want it, but the problem with a weight plate is they tend to slide forward. You get an accident, something like that, they'll slide forward or slide back depending on how you have them positioned in your car. So this car here has a battery positioned all the way forward, so this will probably end up sliding backwards, and that changes the way your car is going to handle. So by putting a little piece of servo tape on there and sticking it down, that way that piece stays, that weight stays in place, and it's a great pro tip to have. So you can see he definitely cuts all of his wires, so you can't plug it in backwards. He's running the Reedy, these are the really nice Reedy bullet plugs, the silver bullet plugs. He is running a Black Box 610R. He is running a Reedy servo, an RT1408 servo, metal geared. This is digital, I believe, yes. High voltage digital servo. He is running the Reedy Sonic M4 5.5 turn motor, and he is running the Reedy 30 millimeter aluminum fan. So let's get some of this out of here. He is running the stock aluminum ESC plate. As you can see, Dustin was nice enough to also autograph the chassis for me. He also autographed the body for me, so I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dustin. There we go. So that'll pop right out of there. I don't want to unsolder this because I want to keep this on my shelf, so I'm going to try and keep it soldered in place. So I'll put this back together once I'm all done, and it'll sit up on my shelf and be a good reminder of the 34 years I've known Dustin. Dustin Evans started racing at Moore RC Raceway when he was 5 years old, and he is now, I believe, 39 years old, so that'd be 34 years I've known him. He has not raced RCs the full time. I know he stopped and raced go-karts for a while. He's always racing some kind of stuff. Right now he's into bicycles. So I don't think you can ever get the racing out of your system. Alright, so there we go. And for those of you wondering, sensor wire right here, what sensor wire he uses, what length, it's a 150 millimeter sensor wire he uses. These are Reedy 13 gauge wires on this speed control. What else? Looks like it's a stock capacitor bank. He's just shortened the wires a little bit on it. And of course this is stock weight plate right here. This is aluminum weight plate, which is, I had it written down here somewhere. 16 grams, oh no, 11 grams. This is 11 gram aluminum weight plate here. So we'll set that aside here. All right, I'm gonna leave the servo in because we'll take that out later. I'm gonna kind of go reverse order on the way you build the kits. So one thing I kind of skipped over a little bit, didn't really skip, but he doesn't have a wing on this. He uses the stock wing, the 92424 wing. The wedge that's in here is he has it at the 6 degree location. And so here's basically the kits, and let's start tearing it apart. All right, here we go. We have, first thing we're going to start with is shocks. We'll take shocks off. Now, if you don't have one of these, this is team associated. This is called a short nut driver, a 5.5 short nut driver. If you don't have one of these for your B7, even the B6 needed this. This makes taking off this top nut so easy. This also works great for slipper if you don't have a fan in the way. Now he's mounted on, we'll walk through all the mounts where he's got the shocks mounted at, but on the bottom of the front shock they're mounted in the middle, because I'm going to take this out so you won't be able to see it. Take that out of there. Makes too much noise. All right, there we go. And I take all the shocks off. All right, here we go. So we have his shocks off here. Rear shocks, front shocks. As you can see, he's running the Fox shock bodies with the Kashima coating on them. He's also running the chrome shock shafts. These are the standard lengths, 27.5 rear with the 27.5 shock shaft, and then the fronts are 23 millimeters bodies with 23 millimeter shock shafts in them. Let's start with the rear shocks first. So we only need one of each, so let's set those aside. I'll set this aside. Let's start with the rear shock first. So he's running a 0-degree cup. He is running the blue spring on it. The blue spring is aftermarket. The stock kit comes with a gray spring. Blue spring is 1 step stiffer. He also has this nice little 2 millimeter spacer here. He has put a little slice into it. So I can actually put it here. And so if you look real closely, I can take it, pop it off right in my hand, just like that. It pops off and on real easy, so you have to take the bottom eyelid off. Just like that. Definitely a nice little thing here. What he did is, this is a shock spacer for inside the shocks here. He just cut a little slot in it. You can see right there, it's a little slot cut into it. And that slot just allows you to pop it on real quick. It'll stay in place. And then if you need to pop it off, it's easy to pop off. You don't have to take the whole shock off or anything like that. They pop off really easy. Okay, on the bottom, he's running the +4 eyelets on the bottom. Everything else is stock on here, it looks like, except he does have, it looks like he is running the machine spacers on the inside. Let's open it up here. I will say, getting this off, it's real easy to get off. I mean, I crank mine down, and I usually have to get some kind of tools to help me get it off. This, you can see, it was easily done by my fingers. So maybe we're all putting these on way too tight. So he is running, in the back, he's running 32.5 weight shock oil. Well, let's see here. He is running a 1.8 millimeter piston. Stock is a 1.7, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, stock is a 1.9. Sorry, stock is a 1.9 in the back. So he's changed that to a 1.8. Let's get
my pliers here, my associated shock shaft pliers. Okay, he is not running any spacers inside. There's no spacers on the inside of the shock. You can see he's running a chrome shock shaft here. This is the standard spacer that goes on top of your shock shaft and then actually below the piston. That's from leaking all over my desk here. There you go, nice and clean. All right, now let's see what kind of spacers he puts on the inside. These should be machine spacers. Yes, they are. So these are the machine spacers. Looks like they're in X-rings. Yep. So these are definitely the machine spacers. A little dirty on the bottom one, but you can see they're the machine spacers. If they're the stock spacers that came in the kit, the black in color one, and then there'd be a top hat on each side, which just only has a top hat on one side, just a thin washer on the bottom. I don't see any evidence of green slime, so he must just use shock oil when he builds them. Put this back together so I don't lose it. So that is the rear. Put this back together here. Oh, and these, one more thing, these are the 2mm thick pistons. They're the thinner pistons. Let's write on this so I can see it better. It's my old eyes don't see very well. Nice thing about associated shock pistons is they're engraved nice and deep, so you can take it and put a Sharpie marker, Sharpie marker on them, and they show up really nicely. Makes it a lot easier to read. So these are 1/8 pistons in the back. They are the 2mm thick. They're not the 2.5mm thick. They're the 2mm thick. You can tell by the little recess here. So you can tell I'm not putting these back together with oil. I'll get back to them later. Just want to get to the front springs, or front shocks. There we go. Blue. So, all right. So there's a rear. Here's the front. He's running the 5 offset on the bottom. Of course, the stock orange springs that come in the B7 kit are here. He is running a +2 eyelets on the bottom. Again, here's that 2mm spacer again he has on the outside, and of course this pops right off, which is so nice. Associated needs to make these just in general. It'd be nice to have a 1 and a 2mm thick little clip-on. Be nice to have. Kashima shock bodies still with the Fox shocks with the Kashima shock coating on them. Oh, this is the first one that's tight. There it goes. I can still get it off with my hand. I think a little bit of oil from the last shock. All right. So in the front, he is running 45 weight shock oil. So 45 weight in the front, 32.5 in the back. He is running 1.7 piston in the front. Stock is a 1.6, I believe. Yes, stock is a 1.6. Let's go look at this here, see what he's got here. All right. There we go. Oh, he's got a 1 millimeter spacer on the inside. Well, you can see that in my hand, but it is there. 1 millimeter spacer. And he's running a 2 millimeter thick piston in the front as well. So this is a 2 millimeter 1.7. There we go. And you see a little bit better. I can see it better. All right. What else is fancy about these? Nothing else really is sticking out. Let's see here. All right. I'll put these back together real quick here. Spacer, washer, oops, it's a lot easier without that on there, so I'll sit up a little higher. Alright, so there you go, that is Dustin's front and rear shocks. So it's one of the first things we've seen here is the aftermarket shock bodies, aftermarket machined inserts. He's running from stock. He's running blue rear springs over the stock gray springs that come in the kit. There we go. All right, so I can put those to the side there. Clean up a little bit of my oil mess here. There we go. So next up, we do have he's running the stock battery mounts. These are the standard versions. These are not the offset version. He's running them all the way forward. And let's check this. Let's go ahead and take this off here and see what he's got. So you can see they're all the way forward. Okay, I'll set those over there. Alright, now these aren't popping off because they're still, this center screw must be a little bit longer. So let's get those off there. Alright. So it looks like he is running .14 screw here. Let's see here. So standard is a 12 usually for low profile height. But if you look real carefully at this, let's take this all the way apart here. Underneath, he does have the O-ring, so O-ring is there. But he also added a 1mm spacer. And that 1mm spacer is because he put a 1mm weight plate on the bottom of his battery pack, so this spaces it up higher so it'll clear that. So you can still tighten this down, it'll stay tight when you put it over your battery pack, but the spacer is there to raise it up just a little bit to clear the added space of the weight plate. He is using low profile ends here because he's using a low profile battery pack. You can set those aside there. Alright, tie rods. He is running titanium tie rods from Associated. These are factory team tie rods here. You can go ahead and take those off. The rears are 28 millimeters long, if you're wondering. About 28 millimeters long. Oops. 0. I was measuring them here, I thought. 28. And the other side also is 28. Maybe a hair shorter. 27.99. So pretty close. 0.01 off. That could just be the way I'm measuring them. So those are the rear. The front steering are 27.1 millimeters. $27.1. 11, 12, pretty close. All right, 27.1 there, and then these front ones are approximately 26.8. And his front caster, or front camber, sorry, was -2 degrees. Rear camber was -2 degrees. He had -2 degrees of toe out on the front end. 14 millimeter ride height, front and back. $26.75. Oops, sorry. So 26.8 on one, 26.75 on the other. All right, so those are the tie rods. He is running the factory team titanium tie rod set. They're listed as a B6, but they also fit B7. His rear hubs. So he is running titanium ball studs throughout the whole thing. These are factory team titanium ball studs. On the breakdown list, I have all the different sizes he uses. Basically all stock, except he is running a longer ball stud here in the back to compensate for how high he raised it back here in the back. And I think he's running a shorter one up front. Where was that at? Shorter one I think is up front, yeah. He's not using as many spacers is what it's called for here. But back in the back we're doing the hubs, so he's running a 6 millimeter hex in the back. Stock is a 5. He is running, let's see here. He is running his hubs spaced all the way back. So both spacers are here in the front. Just like that there. He's running 69 millimeters HD, which is stock. He is running the HRC rear hubs. These are carbon. You can tell by the kind of whitish gray color they are. Let's see here. Those over there. He is not running the optional screws that you can put here. They don't really tell you instructions, but you can put optional screws here if you want, set screws. He is running a 1 millimeter spacer underneath the ball stud here. Okay, see? So 1 millimeter spacer. He is running no spacers here. Let's see here now. These look to be stock B7 ball bearings. They've gotten a lot better since they went to oil-filled bearings versus the old grease-packed ones. Stock here as well. Looks like a little bit of black grease in there. Definitely tell he oils his bearings a little bit more. because there's some oil on here. Set this back together here. Alright, there's one side there. Let's take the other side off here real quick. Do this so I don't lose them later. Alright, there we go. Again, same thing. 6mm hex. Set that aside. Alright, so that's rear hubs. Oh, forgot one thing. Which insert is he running? So slide this out. He is running down position. So the pin is down. You can see over here he is running. You can see he's running a 2-1 with the pin facing down. So this is a 2+2 kit setup is what he's running for height of this rear hub. It is a stock setup in the kit. There we go. So that's rear hubs. Let's see here. Now transmission. Let's get the transmission out of here. Now, last couple of associate kits have a big tie to Morrissey Raceway and to Colorado. The B6 before this was designed by Cody Numedal. Cody Numedal is close friends with Dustin Evans and also grew up in Colorado. Cody Numedal got an engineering degree at Colorado School of Mines and then became an engineer for a while at Team Associated and helped them design the B7, or B6, sorry. And then another one of our racers, Colorado connection, Kyle Klingforth, he started designing a car a couple years ago, quite a few years ago, and got with Cody, and Cody introduced him to Team Associated, and Kyle ended up being the pioneer behind the B7 platform. So we're going to take this all off here. I will get to the A-arm mounting and stuff like that here in a minute. So we're going to set this aside. This is the rear system here. I'll set that aside for now. Alright, get all these out of the way here. Transmission out here. Okay, he's running the stock rear shock tower on this. So yeah, just stock rear wing mount. There's the part number right there, 92431 for the rear shock tower. All right, here is the rear diff. Let's see what I gotta do to slipper off here. This is the stock HD spring that comes on the turf kit for the slipper. So that's a stock spring there. It's a little heavier duty. So if you're running like a B7D, it'll have a smaller spring. The B7 turf kit runs the larger HD spring. Alright, he's running the stock top shaft here. Looks like stock slipper plates on both sides. And he is running the, I forget these are called. These are LCF, the 19 millimeter LCF slipper pads. The stock kit comes with 11 millimeters, which is the hole in the center is a lot smaller. He definitely didn't have his slippers tightened that tight because the nut was almost flush. Just a little bit of the center was sticking out of the middle of it with it. So he's running a 78 tooth spur gear, 78 tooth with a 22 tooth pinion gear, 7822, with a 5.5 turn motor. So you can see they've been glazed over pretty good. Alright, so there's that. Let's take off this piece right here, the top plate. Gearbox top. Alright, so that pops off there. He has grease everywhere, of course, you can see. He does use a grease on his gears. You can see it right there. I don't know what kind of grease that is, though, because it's a different color that I'm used to. You can see more grease down here. You can see oil. Of course, his diff's leaking. It's been sitting around for eight months, almost a year now. I guess not. April, May, so not quite. So one of the neat things he does, he's not running a +2 plate or +2 rear camber mount, balsa aluminum mount here. He's running the stock one. You can run the +2, which will get rid of one of these, but he is running the larger, what are they called? They are called bulkhead washers. These are the larger ones here, so they actually fit. They give your ball stud a much firmer ground to sit on, so they're less likely to break off. So there's a great tip here. Just the larger ball stud washers here. They're called, let's see, these are 2 millimeters thick. These are bulkhead washers. 31386 is the part number. And he's running a longer ball stud back here. I believe he's running a 10 millimeter ball stud back here. Yeah, 10 millimeter long ball stud back here. So it's 10 millimeter long ball stud, titanium ball stud, and then he's using 2 millimeter thick washers back here. This is the 1.2 rear sway bar he has on this. The 1.2 is stock. They look like all pretty much stock bearings. He had the position as a 2, which is a kit setup, the ride height of the rear diff. So the number 2 is up on the top side. He is running 100,000 K diff in this. All right, this is gonna be a mess. Definitely tell this is leaked out a little bit here, so I would give you like a reading for this to spin it up with a diff checker, but because it's leaked out so much over the last so many months, you're not going to get an accurate reading on it, so I don't want to lie to you. Yeah, you can definitely see it's down quite a bit. He was only running 2 gears inside, so you can see he is running a metal shaft with only 2 internal gears. If I remember right, this should come with, yeah, I believe so. So that is about the only modification. He's running 100K diff, 100,000 diff in there, and he's only running 2 internal gears in there. Metal gears, metal shafts. I'll have to find you guys a part number for that. Find you a part number for the cross pin here. I don't have that on me right now. But that is his diff there. Don't use cordless screwdriver to tighten down your diff housing. You can see I'm doing it right now, but I'm also not tightening them down all the way. I think a lot of people over crank these, and I think it warps the plastic on the gear side. So again, it still looks like he's running stock bearings. These have the standard blue. Let's see here. I think. Yep, standard blue associated housing on them. I know his sponsor, J Concept, makes ceramic bearings, but if I remember right, they're black. They're a black seal in them. These all are blue. We'll pop this open, see if there's anything special inside the rear diff, rear transmission case. There we go. Like I said, it's a 1.2 rear sway bar, which is stock. right. So stock top shaft, stock gears, like stock bearings throughout the whole thing. Nothing special in here. Just a lot of oil and grease. Oops. So there is the diff and transmission. There we go. I'll set this aside here. All right. Rear end. We have the rear suspension arms. So rear suspension arms are carbon. He has them in the center position on the inside. The rear, we'll mark these so you can see them a little bit better. He's running the number 1 in, so this is the bottom of the chassis towards me here, bottom of the chassis. So he's running 1 in, all the way corner, all the way corner. And then on the front side, he's running 1 out. So you can see there, 1 out. He's running the aluminum front and rear mounts. And he's got the shock in the outermost hole like I was telling you earlier. All right, so you can set that aside. All right, what's next? Front steering, front outer spindles. All right. He's running this caster blocks on towards the front because you see the spacers on the back side here. See it a little better. That spacer is on the back side. And then he has the set screw sitting in the bottom. This is the 3x6 set screw. This right here eliminates a little bit of slop system. So we'll push this out here. Let's see. So he has a notch to the top side on this one. And he is running, let's see here, 0. So he's running 0 degree in the caster block here. He is also running a 0 caster block. This is a link mount 0, the link mount here, 0. He is running 2.5 plus 2.5, I believe it is. Plus 1.5, sorry, plus 1.5 spacers. So these are aftermarket. These are the half spacers here. These are caster block hat bushings. These are available in a kit of 0, 1.5, and 2.5. These are both the 1.5s top and bottom, so it is centered on it. And then you see they're black there, so they'll stand out like blue. So this is centered as well. He is running, what do they call it? They call it the hex adapter. The factory team hex adapter is actually for the B6, is what this is here. Let's take some of this apart here. Shorter screw in the bottom. So these right here are the 1.5 millimeter caster hat bushings. The stock ones are 0.3 is what stock is. So 0 top, 3 bottom, so it moved this all the way up, and he has actually moved it down halfway. So this, like I said, has the 6 millimeter hex on the outside. In order to use a 6 millimeter hex, you use this new axle. This right here is 71181 is this axle right here. Oh, gotta get that off. That's right. Oh, he has that tight. There we go. So this is what that axle looks like right there. It's a titanium axle. You put the bearing on the back side. You put a screw in. Ow. Without tearing apart your finger here. There we go. Make sure you Loctite that side. There we go. This goes in here like this. The other bearing goes in. Pin goes across. And then you buy a hex. You can buy all different thicknesses of hex. Associated has them from, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 thick. I'm not sure if you can use the 8.5 here, but you can definitely use all the way up to 7. And I'll change your front, how far out your front wheels sit in the front end. The wider out it is, of course, the more stable it's going to be. Stock on this is actually 6.5, so you actually brought it in 0.5 millimeter by using the 6s. So he is running a 2 millimeter spacer here on the link plate, and he is running no spacers on the steering block out here. And then he is running an HT +1 steering block. The stock is just a +1. This is a HT +1. And he's running the 4 KPI 1 steering blocks. KPI 1 kingpin inclination is how far this pin right here is, how far it tilts. So KPI 1 is more upright, and the more you go, I believe it goes this way, it's going to tilt it more. So KPI 1 gives you less direct steering feel. KPI 3 has more direct steering feel. Actually, I think it goes the other way. There you go, other way. Sorry, goes more this way. All right, so that is that. Let's go farther here. Take off this other side. These are also standard non-carbon pieces out here. Keep that one together there. So front end, he is running stock front shock tower. Stock front shock tower, of course, he is in come on. It's amazing how easy this thing falls off on a car, but trying to get it off for yourself, almost impossible. So he's running the center hole on the front shock tower out here. Stock shock tower, this is the 92430. There we go. He is running the carbon front arms and the carbon top plate and carbon side rails. Titanium ball studs here with no spacers here. Screws out of there. He's running aluminum front bulkhead. This should be the 2.5 plus or minus front bulkhead. He's running the plus forward, so it's positive. He also has one spacer underneath. There's the one spacer. All right, so yes, he's running the carbon front and rear front arms. He is running the aluminum spacer, and as if you notice, he is running, this is a pro tip here, on the front bulkhead. He is running, if you're running with the aluminum bulkhead and you're running the set screws in the bulkhead, you don't run the screws that hold the pin in place here because these hold the pin in place. If you run them both, the pros say it binds your suspension up a little bit. So run one or the other, but not both. Top comes off there. So he is running the steering on the high side. He's running it up. He's running a 1 millimeter spacer for the servo arm here. He's running a 1 millimeter spacer here, and he's running the 25 tooth aluminum servo horn here. This is the 15.5 length from Team Associated. And then, of course, like I said, it was the RT 1408 high voltage digital servo he has in here. And then he is running a steel weight plate underneath the battery pack, underneath the servo, sorry. Only one screw holding in place though, because it goes in. This right here is been sanded down a little bit, but this is a steel one. This is 16 grams for steel up here. This might have been one of the early prototype versions. I'll put that back there just so I don't lose a little bitty screw. All right, so steering, he's using aluminum belt cranks. These are the B6.4 aluminum belt cranks. They fit the B7. They're in the up position here. He is running a 1 millimeter spacer behind the titanium ball studs he has here. Anything else major? It looks like he is running, let's see which. .0 millimeter thick sway bar, which is a stock front sway bar he has in it. And then the chassis he's running is a stock 92400 RC 10B7 chassis, so it's not shorter or longer. Like I said, carbon sides on here, and that's about it. Okay, so that should do it. I'd like to thank Brent Felke, Dustin Evans, of course, Reedy Power, and Team Associated for all letting me do this and take it all apart. Now, at some point in time, I got to put it all back together. But I do appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please hit me up. I will be posting a full setup sheet and also the build sheet at the very end of this video. And hope you guys have a great day. Until next time.